Hello and welcome to True Guidance Tarot. I'm Adriana Teodoro-Dier. I'm a spiritual medium and intuitive reader, and I've got a message for Libra today. Now, the way this works is I have asked my guides and spirit for a message that's deeply meaningful for you and has a great amount of significance for you this week. And I don't think they disappointed us. They really gave us something big. So before I forget, please like and subscribe to this channel if you feel so compelled. It really helps to have your support, and it also really helps for you and I to stay in touch every week so that you get this message and the information that you need to really navigate and get your spiritual life to the next level on a consistent weekly basis. So the energy around you this week, we've got the King of Wands. This is a very decisive energy, a very forward-moving energy, an energy of kind of taking control and making things the way you want. Now, instead of harnessing that energy and going with it, you're actually doing something very odd for Libra. You're thinking practically. I mean this affectionately because Libras much prefer to think about ideals or how beautiful something is rather than the nitty-gritty, but you're feeling practical. But it's more than that. You've got this big leadership energy on this side, and you're choosing to think small. So think about that. You have the power to make the world bend around you, to do your will, to do your bidding, and you're thinking small. You're picking up one tiny grain of sand at a time instead of understanding that the whole beach belongs to you. You're like collecting these tiny grains of sand. So the rest of the story, or the advice, is very interesting. We have the Queen of Wands going into the Hermit, and then it ends in the Tower. Now, I don't feel like these two are headed for the Tower. I almost feel like they're watching the Tower from far off. So if you're not familiar with tarot cards, the Tower represents either a revelation or a big kind of abrupt shake-up. So the universe kind of coming in and changing things very radically. I feel like the Tower card has been the overarching card for this whole, it's almost 6 months now, which is crazy to think about. Our whole world has been falling apart, but it's almost like these two are watching it happen. They're not involved in it, but there's a reason why they're watching it. It does talk to part of them because now it's entering their awareness. So the Queen of Wands is the mate to the King. And she's someone who's very comfortable in her feminine power. She's very charismatic, but she tends to look at just herself. Whereas the Hermit looks inward, and he calls you to look from a higher perspective, a more spiritual perspective. And instead of relying on the approval of others, it's about really digging deep inside and approving of yourself, finding your own truth, finding your own light, and finding your own voice. So the Queen of Wands moves from the earth, from needing to be this beautiful creature that everyone admires and looks up to. And you move inward, you move higher to, okay, wait a second. What do I really believe? What do I really feel about myself? Who am I? And then you come to the Tower. And I think the Tower to me represents or refers back to this Ace of Pentacles, the thinking small. So you don't even think of yourself the way you are, because that was the King. King is higher than Queen in the tarot. King is the master. Queen is the practicality of the energy in motion. But she's not the master of the entire kingdom. She's the consort. But so it's like you're thinking of yourself less than actually what you are. And so you come inside to yourself, and then outside you see everything kind of fall apart on the earth. The small way you've been thinking, all the details getting hung up in what it has to happen or what hasn't happened or what's still to happen. Just getting stuck in the little earthly things. And it's all because you have forgotten who you are. So who you are is this light in the Hermit's lantern. You are that part of the divine, that connection to the higher self, that connection to it's really the overarching unconditional love for everything. There's no need to prove yourself. There's no need to garner that approval and attention from others because you've already got it inside. You already have that love. You have that unconditional appreciation for who you are inside, but you've lost sight of it because you're looking for this shiny admiration from outside of you. And so, yeah, this need to prove yourself. And they're saying when you do that, you make yourself tiny, this Ace of Pentacles. And I know it doesn't look tiny because of the perspective on the card, but it's a 1. This is the beginning, and you're at the culmination. You're at the top of things. You're at a place where you need to be thinking much bigger about who you are, because you're settling for small stuff when you could be channeling big stuff. You could be being that bigger energy, bigger person. So this is a really, I think, it's self-explanatory, but you have to be willing to allow that side of yourself to break. All the little things that you tend to get caught up in, all the consistent things you like to worry about that you can't control, the obsessions that you like to think about. I'm thinking that for a lot of you, this is your relationship, worrying and constantly going back and forth about your relationship or any relationship you're in. Or they're also saying job. Is this the right job? Is it not the right job? They're going back and forth. The Queen, again, sometimes I find the tarot limiting because I believe in strong independent men and strong independent women. You shouldn't need one to define the other, but a queen is a queen because she has a king. You know what I mean? She's like half of a pair, whereas the king's fine on his own. And actually what I think is hilarious about these cards is, well, no, not quite. They look into each other. So either she looks into him or he looks into her, but they don't actually meet each other. They're not actually looking at each other. It doesn't matter which way they appear in a spread. They're never going to look at each other because the point is they're supposed to be independent. So this is asking you to look at yourself clearer. Who am I when I'm independent of these relationships? Who am I when I'm independent of a title or a job or a position? Who am I really when I'm independent? And what is that big thing inside of me that I know I am ready to share with the world? So that is your challenge this week. A lot of little stuff to let go of, but we're moving into some big leadership opportunities for you, I feel, and this is going to be very important in the coming weeks. So thanks for joining me. I wanted to also mention, if you're feeling like you need some extra support or extra clarity, I am available for readings through my website, and you can find it in the description below. And I'll see you next week.